Men, what creepy things do women do that usually go unnoticed? Physical abuse. I'm 6'3", 240, dating a girl who was half my size and would constantly strike me. Even my friends laughed about it. She ended up breaking my orbital bone, and nobody found that one funny. My sister-in-law smacks around her husband, and nobody sees anything wrong with it. The first time I saw her slap her husband, then boyfriend, across the face because she was upset with something he said, I was horrified. And no one else in the room even blinked. She hit my husband a lot too, and I had to tell my husband that that behavior wasn't acceptable. I wish people wouldn't be so blasé about women hitting men, or other women. It's just wrong. Full stop. Older women are insanely grabby and harassy. I cannot count the number of times I'll go to take the order of a table of elder ladies and I'll have one of them grab my wrist, hand, or put a hand on my hip. It's pretty gross. My older sister's friends would get drunk and come into my room and put on my underwear. They bragged about it to her friends at school. Also, when women call me gay for not hitting on them, I had a roommate bail, so I rented his room to a photographer that I knew. She would bring over models and shoot fashion photography while I worked in the other room and played video games with friends. Sometimes she would want music, so I'd set up some speakers. One day in the middle of shooting, the photographer turned around and asked if I was gay, because I didn't hit on any of the models. I told her that they are working and having a guy leer at them and hit on them would be inappropriate. And I assured them that if they were out of the social gathering, I would try and chat them up. It's just weird that they aren't constantly showered with attention from a guy they assume he's gay. Girls filming attractive stranger guys in public. Clearly the stranger doesn't know he's being filmed, or he looks like he knows and he's uncomfortable with it. It still gets posted online and left up as if it's not an obvious invasion of privacy. If it was the opposite, I'm sure it would be taken down. This happened to a buddy of mine. He was asked out by this girl in one of our classes who he barely knew and had basically never talked to. He politely declined and moved on, and I didn't think much about it. She continued to post on social media for months in a very explicit manner of how he missed out on her and how she's too good for him and how he was ghosting her. I brought it up with him and he said he didn't really care, so he let it go. But I was super pissed with her. Romantically accosting people over the internet is never cool. I've politely declined doing it and been struck and had homophobic slurs screamed at me. Some women don't handle rejection well. Many men don't either, so I'm not taking sides. No one should be attacked for not wanting to bang someone. Media stalking. Like stalking their ex, their crush's ex, the crush's ex's new significant other. And my girlfriend likes to keep me updated on my ex-girlfriend's ex's life. But why do I care? In college, a girl stalked me and did things like go to the men's bathroom just to look at me while I showered. Even though there were literal video footage, the university did literally nothing. And a lot of my male friends tell me that I'm lucky. Dude, I had a stalker that sent threatening letters to me. She was something like 102 pounds, but it was still scary and I don't think anyone took it seriously. I called the cops and they told me basically that I would never be able to get a restraining order and that I should just get a gun and shoot her if she came onto my property. This is still the main reason I own a gun. Taking personal items from people as mementos. Testing their partner's friends by creating false situations or contrived situations to see how they react, or to just manipulate them. Lying about sexual experiences. A woman actually tried this on a mate of mine. She pretended that he'd been cheating on him, so he was straight up like, cool, get the fuck out and please don't contact me again. She seemed to think that he would get jealous and try to fight for her. When she told him it was just to see how much he loved her, he still broke up with her. Cool, get the fuck out and don't contact me again. I'm not dealing with that shit. Even more creepy, he got shit all over Facebook by her friends too. They were messaging his friends, his family members, etc., saying what a terrible person he was, he couldn't commit to a real relationship, etc. Him breaking up with someone showing a notorious red flag introduced us all to a ton of other women that displayed a load of red flags. It was creepy as sin. Obsessing over celebrities. If I talked about the girls from Blackpink the way girls talk about male pop stars, I'd be called a simp or an incel. I agree, it would absolutely not fly for teenage boys to be crazy over female pop stars, but when teenage girls are obsessed to an unhealthy degree with boy bands, it's entirely normal. Calling someone to harass them for breaking up with their friend. I once broke up with a girl and her friends called to harass me, but I was such a nice guy that I just can't yell at you. When I saw who was calling, I'd answer with, hey, are you calling because I broke up with Melinda? I understand. Feel free to yell at me. Nobody yelled at me. The last relationship I was in ended badly. One of our mutual friends decided to call the cops on me saying I was trying to off myself. Needless to say, the police take those calls very seriously. It was either voluntarily check myself into the hospital for at least a week, or be sent to the state hospital for a minimum of a month. Spent a week at a hospital for mental evaluation. I've never been suicidal. The figure me out game. They intentionally communicate poorly because they want their partner to figure out what's going on. It's downright abusive. I was that partner years ago, and I'm still messed up because of it. If my fiance's having a bad day and talking less than usual, I have to restrain myself from anxiously trying to figure out what I might have done to cause that. I'm really sorry you went through that, and now you have anxiety because of it. It's definitely a thing some girlfriends do. It's a messed up way to treat your partner, and it also messes things up with the girlfriends who are actually straightforward communicators. I try my best to be straightforward in relationships because I don't want anything to be built upon lies. But more often than not, the guy that I'm dating assumes that I'm not telling the whole truth because the idea that women speak in code and they need to be solved like a Rubik's Cube. It's frustrating to say exactly what you mean and have someone always be suspicious that you're hiding the truth. It takes a lot for an attractive woman to be creepy. I remember this e-girl on Twitter did an experiment where she responded to DMs with increasingly bizarre and at times scary statements, and the men just kept going, unfazed. So I've had this very unique, long, curly red hair my whole life. Unfortunately for me, this meant a lot of old ladies liked it. I cannot count the number of old times an old lady went up to me and said, "Oh, I can't help myself," or something like that, and they just rubbed their hands through my hair without asking me. This had happened since I could barely walk. It even happened when I was a toddler or a kid and I was extremely shy and I would hide behind my mom. What annoys me big time about this is if a guy ever did that to a 4-year-old girl, they'd be called a pedo. Granted, now I'm 21, people don't do that anymore, but it still bugs me that it did happen. Hasn't happened to me, but I often see girls or women posting about how they flirt with someone that they have no interest in just because they're bored. I've seen huge pages on Facebook post something like, "Ugh, I hate it when you flirt with the guy when you're bored and then they start to like you." Playing with people like that is just messed up. I hate when waitresses touch me. Whenever I post this too, I get a torrent of replies saying that studies have proven that men are more likely to tip if a waitress touches them. I don't care. I don't want to be touched by you. When I was younger and a better looking guy, I had a lot of drunk middle-aged women group and basically harass me at bars despite no permission or reciprocation from me. Definitely one of those things that would have been a huge deal if genders were reversed, but okay, because I'm a guy apparently. I once had a bartender for an older alumni guy's tailgate in college. It paid pretty well, so I was happy, but his wife came up with both hands, grabbed my ass in front of her husband and her own 16-year-old son. I have never been so uncomfortable in my life or felt so bad for a kid. I was dating this girl who ended up faking that she would do a surprise visit to my house while I lived very far away. She texted me that she'd be there in 2 minutes and was annoyed that I was annoyed that she'd show up unannounced while she wouldn't even know if I was home or not. I broke it off after she did it a couple of times again. She convinced a friend of mine to lure me to a bar where she was so she could win me back. Came to the bar, friend wasn't there, but the girl I ended things with and eventually blocked when things went too far was there, and she went as far as blocking my path to the exit, saying that if I left she would scream I was threatening her. I'm not saying it's all women, but I've had a few experiences like this, and, well, the other experiences didn't go that far, but still. The number of you with long nails that are crusty underneath is alarmingly high. I even had a female coworker who regularly kept her nails at 3 inches length, who once commented on me cleaning under my nails and remarked inquisitively as to why she always sees men cleaning, and it didn't make any sense to her. I then glanced at hers and, well, I can only describe what I saw as an accumulation of dead skin and potato chip crumbs. Please clean under your nails. Flirting with boys, like children, or even teens, as a joke or to make themselves uncomfortable because, oh, they look so cute when they blush like that. Cut that shit out. It's gross, and the fact that your goal is to make them uncomfortable is absolutely insane. That's behavior. As a gay man, 2 things. Women wanting to be friends with us so that they can parade us around as their gay best friend. Had a few friends pull this shit on me, and the moment they started introducing me to their friends as, "This is my gay friend that I was telling you about," I stopped talking to them. They try to turn me straight, also, by doing things to attempt to seduce me. Like, what? I'm not interested. Also, the number of women who ask me for details on my intimate life and act like it's not awkward at all is insane. The manipulation of social media for their own interests. I'm not talking about editing photos, I'm talking about manipulating guys' feelings by posting certain things to make them mad, jealous, etc. I'm talking about stalking guys on Snapchat maps and finding the names of people there by scouring Instagram followers lists. The big one that really just weirds me out is how a lot of girls on some level view their Instagram and social media profiles as tools instead of a place to keep up to date with friends.